Good evening, YouTube. Feels kind of surreal to be sitting here doing this. I was just having a look and I've just clicked 1 month since I posted my last video. So I need to break that stride. I'm sorry that there's no glamorous view in the back. Obviously my view is my beautiful office, but this is just, while I'm having a day like I've had today, I just need to just get this out, post this video up so I can move on and share with you all of the fun, amazing things that are to come. Okay. And I don't know why I knew this was going to be hard, but okay. Don't beat around the bush, just get it all out. I'm going to preface, by the time you've clicked on this video, you're going to know what this video is about anyway. But if you are in a place right now that does not hold the capacity to talk about or hear about or ponder on things like miscarriage, pregnancy loss, all of those horrible things that women have to go through, maybe don't watch this. Come back and watch it another day. If you're here because you're going through, have been through, just a genuine follower that's here to catch up. If you don't know, I'm sorry. But yeah, I've been very public about it. So still get surprised when people don't know. But anyway. So yeah, I was pregnant. I was 10 weeks pregnant and lost my baby. I say baby, but we lost 2 babies. Part of me wants to be like, remember when I said blah, 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 but that's just footage that you guys are never gonna see because I just don't feel like I need to, as much as I'd like to include like the highs and the lows of this, I just feel like there is no positives about it. But I had been documenting everything, and even in my last video, I was pregnant. The one before that, I was pregnant but was editing. I'm just looking at the list now. I was pregnant at the time, but I wasn't pregnant in that footage. So yeah, I just obviously did a catch up. Anyway, I'm drinking 0 sugar Sunkist. I'm in my Christmas pajamas. I've got my wedding headband in. It's the headband I wore to my wedding. My hair's been cut. It's like really short and cute now. Anyway, I'm babbling and beating around the bush. Basically, we said we were trying to conceive. I was very open about that. We fell pregnant at first try, and that blew my mind because of how long it took last time. Well, not that it took long last time, but it just took a long time to get to that point. So to get cleared as quickly as I did and be told that we could try, I mean, scientifically, with everything that I've been through and the amount of hard work that I've put into my body to be in this position, I shouldn't have been surprised because scientifically it should have just worked. There was no reason why I wouldn't fall pregnant straight away. I knew from like day 2 or 3. So obviously I vlogged about going to uni. And I was sitting the stat test, and the day that I sat that exam was the 7th of January. And I just knew, but I promised myself and Jacob, we won't test until I've gotten through the exam, because if I find out that morning, like my brain's not gonna be in the right place. And then I didn't friggin' pass or I passed, but I didn't get the marks I needed anyway. So it be what it be. So I was probably a bit more devastated about not getting into uni than I let on at the time, but it's because I was genuinely okay because I knew low-key I was pregnant. And so I was like, well, I don't have that, but I have this. And so I'm taking it as a sign from God that this is what I'm meant to just focus on right now. Have these, well, I didn't know it was these babies, have this baby, get through this pregnancy, just enjoy this year as it is, and what will come in the future. And so I, tested on the 9th of January on my godmother's birthday, actually, who passed away last year. If you know, you know. And I tested a few times before that and it was negative, but I would have known that I wasn't going to test positive up until minimum that day that I tested on the 9th. So I knew my dates were pretty bang on, tested positive. I have all this footage and I'm just like, part of me wants to show you, but I feel like there's no point. But I have kept it all in a little folder because, you know, it's nice to be able to go back and look at how we felt in those moments. But anyway, I promised Jake I would test with him this time, so that's what I did. And I'm never going to do that again because it was so anticlimactic. It was exciting for both of us together, but it's just, I'm such a holy shit person. That's what he's like, a holy shit person. So anyway, I chose at this point to create a close friends green circle group on Instagram on my VSG page. And I had all my closest family, my closest friends, and then like a few people that I've grown really close to in the community. So there's like 30 or 40 people. It was very small, you know, in the scheme of things. And I just wanted to have somewhere I could document it. And it felt so naughty every time I posted in there, because, you know, it was just like, I'm posting on Instagram, but only these people are seeing it. And it was just mind blowing every time. But anyway, as I would tell people in person or, you know, over message and stuff, like however it happened. But as I would tell people, I would say to them, hey, look, I'm actually documenting my journey from start to finish. Do you want me to add you to my close friend? And of course, most people were like, yes, please, I want to see everything. So I'm glad that I have that. And I have looked at how to share that publicly, but I feel like I would have to save all the stories and repost them all. And I feel like that's a little bit more triggering. It would be nicer to just go make this highlight public now. So anyway, if you, as a bariatric patient, if you're watching this and you, you know, have had surgery and then you're pregnant, trying to be pregnant, all the rest of it, and you would like to see like the day in and day out of how you might feel, how your appetite might change and all of those sorts of things, like I love teaching, and so if you feel like you would benefit from being able to go through and see that 10 weeks worth of footage, message me and let me know and I'll add you to my close friends, and I'm more than happy for you to go through and look at those highlights. I'm just posting normally on my account now. I think I've accidentally posted to close friends a couple of times, but yeah, I just, in that moment, that's what I felt like I needed. And I know I said I was gonna make my account private so that I would just post about it anyway, but I didn't wanna have to like remove, you know, family and stuff that didn't know yet and all the rest of it. So I chose to just keep that little close friend circle there for me. And I tell you what, I'm so grateful and glad that I did that. Yes, it does make it hard. And I did have those moments of like, fuck, now I have to go and tell all these people that I'm no longer pregnant. But like, I knew who would be like, oh, that's a shame. People were going to be empathetic and sympathetic. And I tell you what, most of my support came from that group. So I'm very, very thankful to them, to you, if you're one of my greenies and you're watching, or the purple circle as we call it. So look, I'm just gonna run through this and give you a brief timeline of what happened, how it happened, when it happened. I wanna just get this over and done with, and not in a way of like, I just wanna let you know and then move on with my life. I just literally had a cry to my mum on the phone this afternoon. Today is the, gosh, where's the date? Today is the 17th of March, it's a Friday night. So even though we're almost a month, yeah, 17th, 18th, 19th. Oh, I love that for me. Monday will be exactly a month since I found out. Yeah, the terrible news. Anyway, so still to this point, I still have moments every single day that I sit there in despair, wondering why, asking dumb questions that I know I'm never going to get answers to. But yeah, you might see me as my happy, peppy, normal self, but when I say we've been through it, we have been through it. And I have my moments every day, and I don't think they will ever go away. And the due date for these babies was Artie's birthday in general. So I'm always going to have a moment on those days. You know, every Friday is hard. It was my changeover for my week's day. So anyway, I don't want to get into that side of it because it's just going to be harder than it is. But this is my diary. I've chosen to still use it, even though, like, this is how I had it set up. So this was my pregnancy diary for, wow, okay. So I chose this journal for, yeah, I just, good things ahead, rainbows, I don't know, it makes a lot of sense now, but it didn't at the time. I just was drawn to it. It was my colors and I needed it. So I have basically documented everything from the start when I knew that things probably weren't going to be great. I don't know why I chose to document everything, literally every blood test, every level I had, what my baby's heart rate was when we first saw it, all the rest of it. But yeah, so throwing it back to the 9th of Jan, we tested positive. As the days went on, I did tests every second day and they got darker and darker and darker. 9, 10, 11, 12. 3 days later, on the 12th of Jan, I had my first HCG bloods done. So I didn't rush to like go to the doctors that day and get a blood test. Like I knew I was pregnant. Multiple tests confirmed that. So I just waited till my first day off, which was the Thursday. I'd already had a phone consult to get the blood form so I could just go. I then on the Friday the 13th, I also took a digital test that had changed to like 2 to 3 weeks because I'd done one a few days before that went 1 to 2 weeks. So I knew like my HCG was still going up. My HCG number to start with, and I'm not going to go into the numbers because they don't mean anything to anyone else. You have a borderline when you have your first confirmation blood test for your pregnancy. Anywhere from 50 to 5,000 is a confirmed pregnancy of 5 to 6 weeks, which is generally where you are when you find out you're pregnant. So my starting number was 120. That's really all you need to know. So it was low compared to what Artie's was, but they said every pregnancy is different. It's above the acceptable rate, so it doesn't matter. Let's go do another blood test in a week, and we will just make sure it's moving in the right direction. So 6 days went by and I had my bloods done, and then 2 days later on the Friday, so I had them Wednesday morning. On the Friday I had my telehealth appointment again, and they said, look, your HCG didn't get to where we wanted it to get to within 6 days, but it's still within that scheme of numbers, and sometimes it does start really slowly, so just let's get you on 48-hour bloods and go from there. I was like, okay, cool. I had my first GP appointment booked for Monday, which was the 23rd of Jan, where I actually saw my proper doctor. Because my HCG was reflecting the way that it was, he obviously sent me for a blood test that day. So then between the one I had on that Wednesday, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the Monday seeing him, it should well and truly have been right up over 1,000. He also put me on watch for ectopic pregnancy for 7 to 10 days from that point, and said, until we get your HCG to 2,000 and over, you can't have a scan. So either that needs to happen first, or if you are miscarrying, you'll start bleeding and you'll go to ED. And I was like, okay. So had my bloods that morning. 2 days later on the Wednesday morning, so that I was on 48-hour bloods. So this is a day before the 26th of Jan public holiday. So I had bloods again that morning, went to the park with some friends, and got the call that afternoon saying I was having an impending miscarriage. So again, at this point, it was just a pregnancy. We didn't know there was twins or anything. So they called me and said my numbers had dropped down to 241. So well and truly nowhere near what they should have been. And basically, for the next 2 days until Friday, we cried, we laughed together, we just spent time together as a family and just said, what will be, will be. We've got to get through this. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen, but we'll go to the doctors on Friday and go from there. So Friday morning, the nurse rings me and says to bring a bag with me to the doctors because I might have to go to the hospital, or we just didn't know what was going to happen. So I left the house, bearing in mind I still had bloods done that Wednesday morning. So the results I got on the Wednesday were from Monday's bloods. So I start driving, like I've got my best friend here watching Artie, Jake's gone to work. I said, just go and I'll call you when I need you. Everyone's kind of like on call, but not. I start driving and then the lab rings me and they're like, hey, we've got your results from Wednesday's bloods. And I was like, cool, whatever, I'm on the way to the GP anyway. They already called me and said that it was an impending miscarriage. She's like, no, like, just hang on a second. And I was like, what? So they doubled from Wednesday's bloods. So between Monday and Wednesday, they had doubled. So obviously something funny was happening inside. We didn't know. And they just said, like, go see your GP and he'll tell you what to do from there. So I see him, he's like, let's continue these bloods. I need you to trust me, just hang in there. Clearly something's happening, I don't know. It could be twins, you could have lost one, blah, blah, blah. And we're going, what the hell, like, whatever. So, you know, he says to me, I need you to just go on through the weekend, like as if nothing's happened, as if everything's okay. And I'm like, that's really hard to hear after just spending 3 days thinking we've miscarried this pregnancy and I was waiting to bleed out or whatever was going to happen. You know, I was scared because I'd never been through it. I didn't know what to expect. So it was horrible. It was a horrible few days, but I tried to stay positive. Saturday morning, the lab rings me from Friday's bloods and they're like, good news, it's doubled again. It's now 1100. And I'm sitting there going, what the hell is happening? So I rang Jake and Jake was like, has to be a girl. Boys are not this dramatic. And like we had a little chuckle and said, let's just get through this weekend. It'll be okay. So then Sunday morning, we drive around to the only blood lab open in Perth, unless it's emergency. Got my bloods taken. They rung me at 4:30 that afternoon and said, good news, your HCG is at 2,380. And I was like, this is amazing. I can't believe it. Like Jake's parents were here, so everyone was like clapping and cheering. And like I've rung my mum and I'm like, I think we're okay. And so I jumped online and booked my scan straight away for the Monday afternoon. So Jake and I both went to work Monday morning. We met up for this scan at 3:30 in the afternoon, and lo and behold, there's a baby. There's a baby that's measuring 5 weeks and 3 days, which is a week behind where we should have been. So that's the first part that made me think something was wrong. Then what happened from there? So she was like having a look and she's like, it looks like I can see a second sac here, but I can't see a fetal pole in that one. And she was like, let me have a look at your ovaries. And then she's like, yeah, she's like, you have ovulated from both sides. There's scarring in both of your ovaries to say that in this round of like cycle, you've released 2 eggs, but there's no, she's like, have you bled? Have you had? And I was like, literally nothing. And she's like, yeah, okay, well, that could be an incompetent pregnancy. So it was more than likely twins. And we were like, what the heck? So we left and I was like, blah, 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 blah. And Jake's like, stop. There's a baby inside you with a heartbeat. And I'm like, yeah, but it's low and rah, rah, rah. Just the typical like wannabe midwife side of me knew that something wasn't right. So we had to now get through 2 more weeks to wait to have another scan, which we should have been 8 and 2. So we get to that Saturday. So this now brings us to rescan on 13th of Feb. So this now brings us to Saturday, the 11th of February. We go for this scan and we booked it for a Saturday. We paid a lot of money for it because we just both wanted to be there. Did an internal because it was still early, and Bubs has grown 2 weeks. Bubs' heartbeat is now up to 155. Everything looked good. But this second sac was now more visible and they confirmed it was an incompetent pregnancy. So we kind of like, we were so like, I can't believe the baby's grown and everything's okay. And so it should have, you know, but we're like, I can't believe there was a second baby. And so we started like, you know, slowly mourning this twin that we'd never get to see or meet, you know? And so that's just, it was really hard, but we were still, you know, we need to be excited. So we actually went and had coffee with friends, and like we went and bought Artie and this new baby some like matching pajamas, and we tried to get a little bit excited. We let our guard down. That's what we did. So from that Saturday, Sunday was fine, went to work Monday, had to get through that week. Artie started daycare for the first time. The Monday the 20th came, and this was the day that everything changed. I had my first obstetrician appointment because we were going private. So I've gone to the hospital for my appointment. Now my mum was sick. Oh no, she had to stay home because she had like a work guy coming, and he was like, I'm going to be there between this time and this time. And realistically, I could have gone and dropped Artie off at hers and then gone for my appointment and then done that. But I was like, oh, it'll be fine. Like it's been a rushy morning. I'll just take him with me. I wasn't feeling the best. Like, you know, thinking it was a good sign that I wasn't feeling great. But anyway, so I decided to take him to my appointment, and it was a silver lining at the end. Basically, when you go for your obstetrician appointments, you see the midwife as well. So we spent 45 minutes with the midwife, you know, doing my height, my weight, like congratulating me on how much weight I've lost since I was last there, you know, just chatting about everything, how I'm going to control my diet this time, you know, can I still train in the gym, all of that. I was cleared for everything, got all my scan referrals, literally got everything, got my little folder that said baby number 2, you know, and just was like, I can't believe we're at this point. My blood pressure was really good, on the low side for the first time in my life, which was interesting. But yeah, so then we've gone back out, we've sat in the waiting room, and Susan comes out, which is my doctor, and she brings me in, and even she was like, oh my God, like, I just can't. She's like, your face hasn't changed, but it has. But like, she's like, my brain is so boggled. She's like, you look amazing. And she's like, I'm so happy for you. And then she was like, started questioning, like, so what's been going on? Like, I've read these reports, and there's 2 babies, and there's 1 baby, and then there's this, and there's another sac, and there's rah, rah, rah. And I was like, honestly, Susan, I'm hoping that you can clarify for me what may or may not have happened. So anyway, she was like, all right, we'll jump up on the bed. Let's have a look at Bubby. And obviously I had Artie then. He was just in his pram. And so, you know, I started to have a bit of deja vu, because that's what happened when we went for his. We were actually 8 weeks to the day when we had our first appointment with him. For this one, I was 9 and 2. So I was a little bit further along, which, you know, because of everything that had happened, that was fine for me anyway. So I get up on the bed, and, you know, like, I pull my pants down a bit, and Susan like puts the gel and stuff on, and then she puts the Doppler on, and basically that was the moment literally everything changed. What I saw wasn't what I saw on the Saturday before that, and I thought, oh no, maybe it's because her machine's a little bit different, but everything was just really cloudy and didn't look great. And her face just sort of dropped straight away, and she just went, Hales, I don't really like what I see. And I was like, okay. And then she's like, all right, get your pants off. I think we need to do an internal. She's like, I want to like check a few things and see what we're actually looking at. So I was like, okay. And I was still fine until this point. So they did the transvaginal, you know, wanda, we call it. And by this stage, it was like my freaking 1000th one of those. So anyway, I felt really vulnerable in that moment as well, because like, even though Susan delivered my other baby, I had a cesarean. So I was like, Susan, this is the first time you're seeing my vagina. Obviously she would have, because I had a catheter and stuff for my surgery. But anyway, I was just like in a little bit of disbelief. Like, anyway, moving on. So she puts the thing inside, and then she's like, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna zoom here. The second that she zoomed, I think my heart stopped, because what I saw was my baby in its sac with no heartbeat. Like, I'm not dumb. I knew exactly what I was looking at, and it was just laying there. It was just floating. I hate saying it. But yeah, I don't know. I've said this so many times now, and I could literally just cannot. Go away, fly. I knew what I was looking at, and then I think it was what she said that just like, yeah, my heart literally stopped. She just said, Hales, she's like, Bubby's passed away. And I just, at that point, was like, I couldn't emote. I couldn't say anything. Like, I don't know. I got off the bed, and like I sat back down, and I just looked at her, and she just looked at me, and I was like, I said, I'm sorry. I was like, I'm sorry that this is how we had to meet again. And she's like, don't you dare apologize. She's like, I'm sorry that I had to be the bearer of that news. And she was like, you just had the absolute runaround by everything that it seems. And she's like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, well, it's not your fault. Like, and I just couldn't fathom it. Like, I just was like, I don't, like, when, you know, like 6-7 days ago, I literally saw my baby alive, moving, bobbling around, looking back at us. And I don't know. But yeah, obviously she said with the level of dissolvation that it was at and the size, it pretty much would have been within 24 to 48 hours from us having that scan, because it hadn't grown like at all. So yeah, it sucks. But so we lost the babies at 8 weeks, or 6 and 8 weeks. But yeah, by the time everything sort of happened and we found out, yeah, it was just like, oh, I just don't even know. Okay, sorry about that. Well, I'm not apologizing. It's sad. It is what it is. So pretty much from there, she's like, I'm going to give you your options. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to choose anything right now. You can ring me later. You can ring me tomorrow. But basically you have two options. You can either go home and just ride it out, but you could be waiting for weeks, especially since my body still hadn't recognized that we lost the first baby. Like there was still a sac in there that was reacting. So basically they call it a cyst after that. That should have come out. So she's like, I don't know what your body's doing. I don't know what's happening. But you can do that. You could be waiting weeks, or I can organize for you to have the medication and do it at home. She said it's not nice either way. Whatever way we choose is not nice, but it's up to you what you want to do. And I just said, I can't do that. I can't put Jake through that. I don't think I physically can go through that. And I hope that anyone that watches this never judges me for choosing to have the surgery. But when I've spent every week of this 10-week pregnancy so far up and down on the world's craziest roller coaster, I wanted it to be over, but I didn't want it to be over as in like, I just want to get over it. It was more just like, I still had to wait like 5 days. Like this was Monday. I didn't have surgery till the Friday. So I still had to wait regardless, but it gave me that time to like grieve and mourn whilst I was still pregnant. So then the day that the surgery came, it was actually an easy day until I got taken down to theatre, and then I just lost it. And I went to sleep crying, and I basically woke up, saw where I was, knew that it wasn't a dream, and I just cried. And then I just cried until I got back to recovery and met back up with Dana. But yeah, so it has been tough. It has given me so much realization into how uneducated we are about miscarriage and pregnancy loss. The things that I experienced over the week after that, I cried, I kicked, I screamed. I was like, what the hell? No one sat me down and said to me, and when I say no one, I mean as in like there are so many people I know that have been through this, and I know that everyone is different. Nobody sat me down and said, you are basically going to come out of this like you've just had a baby, but without the baby. You don't get to take your trophy home. And when I went into theatre, it was just myself, Susan, and my anaesthetist, and I think a theatre nurse. She withheld everyone else in the scrub area. Like I remember when we went in for our Caesar, like everyone was in there doing their things. This time it was empty, it was quiet, and like for my doctor to stand there and just hold my hand and just rub my arm and like just talk me through it and let me know that I was okay and that she was going to deliver my baby and make sure like we say goodbye, and like I just couldn't stop crying. So I'm glad that I went through that with her, but it sucks because I should have been there to give birth to my baby and be there with my live baby. And I'll always ask why. I'll always say, why me? I feel like that's valid. Like you're allowed to do that. There's nothing that you're not allowed to do, I guess. It doesn't make me any different of a person because I've been through it. It makes it relatable for me to be able to relate to anyone in my future that I'm going to come across that goes through this, that willingly shares that. As a future midwife to be, I absolutely hate that this is like relatable for me. Like I'm gonna be able to help women and hold their hands through this shitty journey that they're gonna go on. But I'm so grateful for that. Like I feel like if there's anything I've taken away from it, it's that I can get through this and so can they. And life does go on, but you never forget. Like you plan this, and I sat there yesterday going through both of my diaries, whiting out all of these milestones and dates of things that I had booked in, and that felt so dumb and rude. I was like, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm erasing them. But I'm not. I just need to get on with life for my family and for myself. I've got things I want to do. I don't want to rush back into falling pregnant again because I'm so scared. But right now I'm just working on myself. I've gone back to the gym. I'm trying my hardest to get into nursing school, and I'm praying every single day that comes through for me because I need something to keep me going. Not that my family's not enough, but if you know me, you guys know like I'm constantly working on things, if not myself, my education, my future for my family. So I wanted to share this. I've publicized it on my Instagram. There's 3 posts. I've put the whole story there. I want this to be a world where sharing that you're going through a miscarriage or that you've had a miscarriage and pregnancy loss is just as common and normal as sharing that you're pregnant with your child. Because why is it any different? Why should it be any different? I had to turn my Instagram off for 2 days when I posted up my story because of the amount of Me Too's that I got. And I'm not saying that in a negative way if you were someone that reached out to me. I am so grateful for that. What I hate is how fucking sad it made me at the amount of women that have had to go through this alone and felt like they couldn't share it because they were an embarrassment or a letdown. Like, I get that now. I feel it every single day. I'm like, my parents must be disappointed. Like, I did something, I'm not pregnant anymore. No one is thinking that. But this is just what you go through as a woman because it's your body. Your vessel is bringing this life to life and it failed you. Like, I don't know. Again, I hate that it's relatable. But I wanted to share this. I wanted to put it out there. If it helps anyone, then I love that. If it doesn't and it just makes you sad, I'm really sorry. But this is my story and this is what's happened to me and my family, and we hate it and we're so mad and so upset. But my dream is to help, nurture, educate, teach, provide a safe place for women in the future. And I'm literally sitting here filming this under my maternity shrine, and if you know, you know. But yeah, like I said, I'll keep praying every day that I eventually get to go down that road, and I think I'm close, but I can't share yet. I don't want to over manifest, but I did get some good news today, but this video is not about that. But anyway, this is our story. This is what happened. And yeah, I just want to thank everyone that's reached out to me. I couldn't have got through it without everyone by our sides. Even just Jake, the amount of people that checked in on him was just amazing, you know. So anyway, I'm sorry that this wasn't the happy peppy video you normally get from me. But I will be back with more, I promise. We are 1 week away from going on our holiday, our first family holiday. We are driving up to Monkey Mia and Kalbarri. So it's like a 9-hour drive, but we're breaking it up a little bit. So that's why there's like tubs and everything on my table, because your girl has already started packing. Surprise. But I guess the most important parts that I wanted to share was that we decided what was right for us was to acknowledge our babies, and we've named them. And when we go on this trip, I was supposed to have been 15 weeks pregnant, so we were going to be taking like beautiful videos and photos at sunset and making a cute little video ourselves and posting that for the world to see because we were so excited. Unfortunately, that won't be happening, but we will be getting some flowers, and we're going to go and have like a little commemorium. I don't even know what to say, a commemorative service, just our own thing. We're going to go and we're going to let some flowers go in the ocean so that we can acknowledge that Daisy and Poppy were a thing, and they were two of our girl names that we had on our list for that baby if she was going to be a girl. And everything that was happening around us was just feminine energy everywhere. You know, Jake making jokes about how they have to be girl, or they had to have been girls, and you know, all the rest of it. I had two really spiritual friends reach out to me that don't even know each other, both telling me that they've got double baby energy around me, like twin energy. One of them said like it's very feminine, doesn't mean that it's girls, but very, very feminine energy there. And again, like wasn't asked for, but was appreciated. And so yeah, we decided that those two names that we had went together hand in hand, funnily enough. So if we had twins, it would have been beautiful if they were girls. Yeah, so Daisy Jacob and Poppy Rose, and it's heartbreaking. It makes me so sad. But anyway, I'm gonna cut it off here because I'll just sit here and cry for the next 3 hours, and Jake's on his way home from work, and Brock and Dana are coming for dinner. But anyway, like I said, just remember, if you do find out that someone's gone through this, just because you see them back to normal or back to normality and being their happy, bubbly selves doesn't mean that they're not suffering behind closed doors. And I say that because I have had a few people be like, it's so nice to see you back to yourself. And that's a beautiful thing for them to say, that like, it's nice that you are happy and smiling again, but it makes us as a person feel guilty that we're smiling and happy again. It's like, you feel like, are they trying to say that like, oh, you're over it and stuff? So there's a lot of things that go through your head, and I don't know, maybe that could be me, but the people I've spoken to that have been through it have said, yeah, I totally get it. So anyway, don't feel like you can't reach out to me and talk to me. I've had a lot of, I don't know what to say. That is totally fine. Just say, hey, I'm thinking of you. If you want to chat, I'm here. Because I have had some really good conversations with even men in my life that have never been around this, don't understand it. It was never a thing. They said, oh, my mum's actually had a miscarriage before, or, you know, and like, I never really thought, like, to think that she would have gone through it and maybe have been this upset, but like, I didn't exist then, so I didn't know. But like, it's really sad, and it's actually made them want to have conversations with their sisters, aunties, cousins, whatever about it, going, you know, like, I don't know. I think just sharing this is like, it's educational, but also it's real life shit, and everything that you see online is not what it's cranked up to be. And you have to remember that it is just one massive reel. And that's why I'm not sitting here with like my hair and makeup done and like filming like a welcome back to my channel situation. I just needed to get it out. I needed to tell you, now it's out. I can move on knowing that like I've closed the chapter to what I need it to be, and I will never forget my little bubs to be, and I will always celebrate them. But like I said, we don't know what our plan is, so just don't ask me, that's all. But anyway, if you've watched this far, thank you so much. And again, if you've been someone that's been right there in my corner, I appreciate you a million times over. And if you are watching this because you've been through this, I'm so fucking sorry. I want to reach through this camera and just give you a massive hug and kiss your little face and tell you that it is okay. You can kick and scream, you can cry, you can be peaceful, you can do whatever you want. Nothing's right, nothing is wrong. You just need to get through it how you get through it. But reach out to people, reach out and tell them, because the way I see it is, if people don't know what you're going through, they can't be there and support you. So say it out loud. It's hard, but say it out loud. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you hopefully in the nearer future with a bit more of a happy, bubbly smile on my face. And hopefully, maybe our holiday video will be my comeback. I don't know. But anyway, stay tuned, and I'll see you soon.